from Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm your host, Matt Fitzgerald. I have a very special guest with me. Actually, I should say more than one. Veronica, who you'll hear chiming in, is sitting to my left. She's a current dream runner staying with us. Working the camera and soon to be sitting right here is assistant coach Lauren Clement. And the special guest I was referring to is my friend Futsum Zeinaselassie, a member of the Hoka Northern Arizona Elite professional running team. Welcome to Dream Run Camp, Futsum.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Right on.
I'm happy to be here.
It's a real pleasure to have you. So for those maybe who are watching live or watching the recording who don't know how you and I know each other, how do you and I know each other?
Well, you and I were teammates for about 12 weeks.
13.
13.
But who's counting?
I know. And this was 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when Matt came out here for training for Chicago Marathon, 13 weeks. That's when I met you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just, it's like I kept the journal the whole time I was here, and then I wrote a book, but not everything in the journal made it into the book. So I was like reminiscing. I was remembering a time you and I and Craig Lutz ran. This is before Cal Harbor. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
At Buffalo Park,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like that was like you were one of the last members of the team that I kind of really connected with. It took a little longer, which is part of the reason I was glad I was here for 13 weeks. And we just like, I got to warm up and cool down with you guys, and we were chatting. You were showing some curiosity about this old slow guy. And when I told you I had run 40 marathons, you just about fell over. And then you remember what you called me?
I don't.
Crazy
but
man.
I'm sure still very, very impressive, to hear somebody, have done that many marathons. I just finished with my second one, and so I'm still impressed.
Yeah. But a lot has changed in like 6 years. So like you hadn't run any marathons then. So yes. 40 probably sounded like crazy man.
Oh yeah.
But now you've run a couple. Like, is it,
I actually thought you were actually really crazy because I did leave the team because they want me to run marathon. That was one of the reasons I left the team.
Wow.
I just wasn't ready to do a marathon. Yeah. Obviously, not that I don't want to do a marathon. Later on in my career, yeah. But that early, I wanted to focus in 5K, 10K track. Maybe the longest, I thought I would do during that time was a half marathon, at least for that 4 years of cycle of my contract.
Yeah.
But I felt like a lot of the training felt like a lot like marathon training for me. So yeah. I had to decide. I actually decided to leave the team in 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure I thought you were crazy running 40 marathons.
Yeah. So the way the impression you made of those who've read Running the Dream, they're like, oh, Futsum, he's the laid back one, and you and I talked about this. You're like, that's not the whole Futsum. So like you are laid back, but what else is there?
I am. I think I would consider myself a laid back person. But in terms of, I think there's from reading the book, there's and I think a lot of it could be, and I don't want to
go for it,
throw names, but like maybe Craig Lutz made me look like I'm a newbie, and I was that was my first year professional run. I joined the team in March. I think he came here in June or July, in 2017 when he joined the team.
July.
So see, I was fairly new to the team as well, but I competed through high school, college, so I felt like I had a good understanding of the sport and my training and things like that. But I remember reading a little bit from the book about showing up to practice, and it's like, oh man, what's for practice? What are we doing for workouts? And I was like,
come on, man.
Maybe I wasn't as what do you call it, like invested as maybe some of the guys were in terms of like being locked in exactly to what.
Right.
But I think I had a good idea of what I was doing.
Yeah. So.
No, but it's all fun and great. I really enjoy reading the books.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, the way I looked at it is that, your laid back attitude is a strength, that it actually, I mean, I think you're probably pretty slow to hit the panic button, when something's going wrong in training or a race. I mean, does it help you to have that kind of personality as a runner?
I think so. I mean, they might be, it might be less shown on the outside, but I get nervous. I get I don't know if panic is the right word, but like if training is not going well, or if I'm not feeling quite myself, or some races, there's a time where you kind of you're not sleeping as good as you want. The day before the night before the race. But in terms of like maybe I would say 70 to 80%, I am more laid back and how I view the sport and training. I'm not um, because it's not everything for me. I
Hmm.
mean, uh, I come from a family that are very religious. My father is a priest. My mom father was a priest. And my father was a priest as well. So religion and obviously my family right now, are a huge part of my life. So it's like running is, um, I love the sport. In fact, I was out running Eldon this morning. I was by myself, and one thing that kept coming to my mind was like to really dive into that where um, you know this is a hobby and I want to enjoy it. I want to do it for the right things. But hey, if training's not going well, race didn't go well. It don't matter. I mean, it does matter when you're a professional runner because this is how you get paid. It's how you make a living. But it's not the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's like uh, I wanted to focus more, really, finding joys in the training and then races, once every, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks. So
Yep.
if you're not really enjoying that 4 6 weeks of training and you're waiting for the race to happen,
Hmm.
then I feel like you're missing a huge part of. And I know we're diving into a whole different, but how I'm trying to look at the sport
Yeah.
and me being part of a laid back is what I'm trying to explain. But
Yeah. No, that's pure gold. I mean, that's really valuable to hear a professional runner talk that way because it's like you don't have to choose between having fun and performing. Actually, when you're having fun, you perform.
100%, 100%. And honestly, I mean, it's a very hard line to find and to be on because I think how we're like from high school to college, how we're I don't know if program is the right way, but like winning is what the drive is, but I'm trying to get out of that and really enjoy uh, what I do, and then and just I think the more joy you could find and the thing that you do, a huge part of your life, which is running for me as well, and I think I think the success will come.
Hmm.
Um,
You mentioned your family, and so you were born in Eritrea, spent the first several years of your life there. You know but you came to the States when you were still fairly young. You've been here for a very long time. What sort of legacy? Just talk a little bit about, for those who don't know, the early part of your life, and what sort of legacy do you have from the time you did spend there?
so I was there till I was um, like I think I moved here in seventh grade. So I was about 12 or 13 years old. And but during that time, obviously, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. And like most of the things that we remember is things that we did when we were young.
Yeah.
Like those times are really hard to forget. So and and I was born in a obviously a whole different um, uh, life that we have right now, where you know away from technology. I was born in a small village. We had ships and donkeys and cows growing up. So I felt like 99% of my time, my childhood time spent doing something.
Hmm.
So I just remember that lifestyle. The going with my older brother to get water, or growing up and watching the ships and things like that. Just the lifestyle to like you have to do something to make things happen. You got
Hmm.
to move around, you got to work for it. That's something that I carried with me um, uh, to this age.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna let Veronica ask a question after I pop in one more, which is just like where the running began. I think you have an older brother who ran, and was this before leaving Africa and coming to the States, or after?
Yes, no, he and man, actually, my older brother was, for here, it might not sound like no way. I think maybe he was like, I can't exactly guess how much he weighted, but I remember he was kind of overweight for back home, for
Uh-huh.
being back home,
Right.
and I think he started to just kind of, he wants to get fit,
Mhm.
and met some really, some of his best friends right now are that he met in that running community, and he started running, and I used I used to watch him run. In fact, I remember one day, before school starts at, I don't know, it was 8:30, 9 a.m. And this, I was in sixth or seventh grade. I ran the 400 meter in like 75, 115, and those guys were impressed, man. They were happy for me. Like, man,
Uh-huh.
with more training, you could get better. But that's how it all started. I mean, I used to, in the afternoon when he go out run, kind of like, so back home is a whole different um, like view of running.
Yep.
People don't just run around
Yep.
town. They might think you're crazy.
Mhm.
Like, it's just not. Even though, because most of our lifestyles, you're on your feet, you're out, you're walking. It's not like,
Yep.
we're here. The, the the amount of time we were outside or on our feet is very.
Yep.
So you got to go out of the town. So I would go out of town with him, and I would hold his clothes. He has to change there, go for a run, come
Mhm.
back. So
Wow.
I think that's how it all kind of, like, you know I, I start, viewing the sport and liking the sport. But when I came here, I still wanted to play soccer. That's something that I wanted to do. But I've always remember that. Uh, so back home, when you finished 11th grade, you've got to go to this place where they teach you how to be in the army, and
Mhm.
you do school. And my brother chose to go the athletic way, but he didn't. He just wasn't quite fast enough at that time, and so they just took him, and he went to the army. And I came in here. I remember he used to say, "Man, I want to run for my brother." I want.
Mhm.
But that what do you call it? That feeling, or it wasn't out. It was deep inside me, but I still wanted to play, like,
Yep.
soccer. That
Yep.
was that was the first thing I wanted to do till I missed out. I missed out the trying out for soccer.
Mhm.
That was the end of it.
A lot of
PE
runners can
class,
relate to
whatever.
that. That's,
Yeah.
that's how we ended up
So
runners. We got
I
cut.
know. PE class. I did a mile. The coach saw me, brought me into cross country, because you don't need no, for that you don't need no tryout. Throw
Take
this guy
everyone.
in there. Yeah, probably like mid-season. I don't know. And the rest was history.
Right on. Yep.
Yeah.
Veronica, let's
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. So I have a few running and non-running based on this conversation. So your early childhood,
Yes.
really shaped who you are becoming or who you have become. So I know you have a child.
Hmm.
So how are you going to impart that kind of hard work ethic and that type of upbringing in a culture like this so that you instill some of what you learned into your child now?
Oh gosh, that is a beautiful question, and then I gotta tell you, way before I even try to answer that. Um, I mean, I like to say my wife and I are trying, but I think that's going to be a very, very hard thing to do. You just got to find something between. And one thing that we've been very mindful of doing is, whenever we go for an afternoon walk at Buffalo Park, he's out with us. I try to bring him and practice and see Daddy working. And I mean, he's 4. He's gonna be 5 in October. All he thinks right now is probably like, this guy's having fun. See me running, he's probably thinking
Yeah,
that's
right.
just fun.
Right.
There's levels to the sport. He's probably like, hey, I could run. I could run for like 1 minute and take a break. So he's not. I'm sure quite doesn't understand. The hard work that we put into it, but. Um, I think there's a few things I've noticed from him that I feel like maybe he's catching up. Now he asked me, Daddy, were you in training? How's practice?
Mhm.
Something like that.
Uh-huh.
And but I mean, in a right time, right world, I would love to take him back home and show him, where obviously my wife parents from. My wife's from the capital city, but her parents are from, obviously small villages back there, and would love to take him to where I grew up, show him, how people live there, how they get, their water and other things. So hopefully he could, you know, at least, be in a position where, understand, hard work, and but that's gonna be harder than what I do right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
In terms of running,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I might think I work hard, but raising, you know, uh, you know, a person that understands hard work and those things is even harder, more
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a big CIM fan. I
Yeah.
love that race. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. Of course, I was watching everything online. So
everything.
I see.
I missed that part, but I did read about it. So knowing the course, did you do any recon of the course? And if you did, knowing the course, like how did you do anything specific in your training to prepare for CIM?
I mean, actually, yeah, CIM was, it's a beautiful course. I like how, you know I like how, how the course is. A lot of people mention, oh man, like, might say fast or toward the end, it's kind of, but I, I like how early in the beginning, you got a little bit of, so your quads are not all like, one way. It's good to go a little bit, maybe not a big hill, but a little bit rolling is actually, I think, it's good for, because it works different type of muscles. So I enjoyed running CIM. I think, Lake Mary is very, very close to what CIM
Yeah.
provides, and but I remember there's one session that we did that was specific for that, is, and I'm sure Matt probably done this during his build up as well. It was a long run with fast finish. It was a 24-mile long run, and the last 3 mile. And I did this at Belmont. I don't know if you guys have been out there yet. Yeah, Belmont is kind of hilly going out for first maybe 5 to 6 miles, and then it levels out a little bit. But coming back, it's all downhill. So we did like a medium pace long run with fast finish to just kind of mimic what CIM would be toward the end of the race.
Yeah. And then that kind of leads into my next kind of, what is your favorite place? Where's your favorite place to run in Flagstaff?
See, we've tried very hard to keep this secret. There's few people, because really few people go there, But I think I've noticed lately a lot of people have found out this place is called Flag House. You could get 10-mile loop, you could get 12-mile loop. You could probably get you could get a 15-mile loop, but you could do a 12-mile loop maybe a couple times, maybe 2-3 times. And I mean, what I like about that place is there's no cars. Flag House is about a mile from Lake Mary. So if you guys want to come check it out, come on Wednesday.
Right
It'll
on.
be nice enough, to
Okay.
let you guys tag along, But no, I would say that's my favorite place, just because shaded trees, not a lot of cars out there, and I really like the loop. I don't have A1, going out and back, Naval, or I don't know, like Walnut Canyons and other places. They're kind of out and back. And me and Wesley just actually, um, part of the trail is not quite great, the footing, so we wouldn't recommend to go. But we have figured out a 10-mile loop out of A1 that we've done. We've been doing every Saturday. So, but I would say Flag House is my favorite place.
Okay.
Flag House.
Flag House. Next Wednesday, maybe.
Yes,
We'll have
yes.
to
Wednesdays, come by. Why not?
I just have one final question, because I'd love to hear, like, what is your favorite workout?
My favorite workout.
And this could be like when you work 5K, 10K marathon, whatever it is, like whatever your favorite.
I mean, I think it all depends. I think like when I'm fit, I like to do like 8 to 10 miles tempo, like a marathon pace. that just comes like it's rhythm, it's nice. Probably not a fun thing to do early in your build up because you're not fit enough to to do something like that. And I would say whenever I'm getting back to training, I like the shorter sessions because you could do 400s, 70s, 68s, wherever that is, and you've got to rest. Then you go out, and I think it's very smart as well when it comes to how much pressure you put on your body because it's early in the season, and if you're trying to go a mile at that pace, just form might break down and other things. So um, I like those, but I would say the lumberjack was something that we've done in college. Was knowing um, I don't know. I mean, I remember Ben once. Once in a while, he. This is Eric Hines, my old coach from college. His This was his, like, we would go all in for this, and this was, you would do first. You would do 4 400s. You do 10-minute tempo, and then 4 400s, 10-minute tempo, and then you finish with 4 400s, and those 400s progress. But the 2 miles stays the same, or the 10-minute tempo stays about 5 minutes per mile type of pace, and we used to really look forward to this workout.
Good one.
Yeah.
I give baby versions of it to some of the athletes.
Yeah. And I think it's the name, man. We're in Flagstaff, cutting wheels.
You're gonna wear your flannel.
Yeah. That's actually a thing now. When I don't know if they still do it, but yeah, whenever we made it to national, we used to. That's how we dress.
Yeah.
That's how we.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
When you were over here for the open house that we had, and thank you again for coming. It's good to have some star power. I congratulated you because you had recently run Rotterdam, improved on. So that was your second marathon, lowered your time. I think you hit the Olympic standard exactly 2:09:40. Is that right?
World, I think. Was it world or Olympic? I think it was world.
World. Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, yeah, I'm a work in progress. So you were acknowledging that you were making progress, but you were also sort of looking ahead and saying, well, I'm not done yet. What does that mean? That mindset, that work in progress mindset mean to you?
Well, I think, man, there's a friend once told me this, and I don't know if it's too late for me, or if, I would like to say it's not too late for anybody, but I remember just kind of what do you call it, like um, I was just speaking about how my career is and what my career is, and just kind of feeling bad, feeling bad about myself. And he was just telling me like, hey man, we all travel in a different way. Some people might take an airplane, get to Phoenix quick, and some take a bus and it takes longer, or a car. So he's like, hey, maybe you're walking. Maybe I'm walking my career. That's what's going on. It's taking me so long to get to Phoenix. But I think work in progress. I feel like I just haven't really, for a lot of reasons. A lot of it is, I would say, it's up to me that I haven't made it happen yet. But there's just so much I know. I've got left in myself, and I know what I'm capable of doing. So even just in Rotterdam itself, I know I was in a better shape. And as you've run 40 marathons, you understand that you can't run marathon alone. So I remember from 21K to 30 or 35, and I could have probably made the decision to push on by myself after 30K, but we all understand that 30K is only halfway in a marathon. Those 12Ks are hard, so I really waited and held myself back. But if the pacer kind of stayed on the pace, I think I would have ran at least pretty close to 209 or break 209, because we were sub 209 pace through the half, and then when the other pacer dropped out, the other kind of slowed down a little bit. But I had to stick with him, just knowing that how far I have left.
Right.
And I finished strong, but it's really hard to close faster than I did in a marathon when you're that tired. So that was part of it as well. I think I'm capable of running, way faster than I've done there. So
yeah. So what are the mechanics of that look like? So you're like, okay, I've done this much. I want to do this much more. I really believe I can do this much more. Like, what do you actually do to get from here to here?
Yeah, man, that's actually a great course. This is it's the meeting we had with coach about it. Asked me what I think, and gave me his advice of what he thinks. This is with Alan Culpepper, and um, uh, there's few places, we both, you know, different places that we saw that we could improve, but at the same time, there was one thing that we're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And one thing we're doing right now is, and I think it's probably the safe way to do is up in a little bit my easy runs a little bit faster than what I'm doing. So if I used to run 8 minute pace, maybe run 7:30 pace. So and this is very safe way to do, just because um, with running a faster workouts and things could lead to something else. But with your easy runs, just
Right.
just upping the speed a little bit.
Yep.
And obviously mentioned about I only run I probably average about 100 miles a week for like 4 weeks, or 8 weeks to Rotterdam. But he likes if I can get up to that 110, 115, even way before those 8 weeks.
Yep.
Um, but when my answer to him when he asked me, I was like, I gotta run faster workout, man. Train me like a 10K,
Yeah. Yeah.
like half marathon,
Yeah.
But this American coaches, man, they're just like mileage, man. Run more, run more, and I'm like, how
Yeah.
much more can I run, man? I
Yeah.
think we both understand we gotta stay, somewhere in between. So I like the running a little bit faster in my easy runs.
Yeah.
I think you've got enough time to recover. So
Yeah. One thing I discovered in my own journey as a runner, which went on for a very long time, because I mean, we all look at ourselves as work in progress. We all want to believe that our best race is still in front of us.
yeah,
And one thing, I wish I had discovered much younger is like our bodies are all different, and like just like what works great for another runner, even another runner who's about your level, might not be your perfect formula. And I felt like when I got into my 40s, actually that's when I started to figure out, oh, this is how I need to train. And it was like breaking some of the rules that other people were doing, but it's like it works for me. Are you still kind of learning your optimal formula, especially as you move up to the longer distances? It's like what's perfect for me versus what he's doing or she's doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, 100%. That's that's why we're still I think sometimes it helped when you're with one coach for a long time, because throughout that time he could really hopefully one take more than 2 years for him to figure out exactly how your body works and what works and what doesn't work. But like after college to band, from band to this airtime course that I was working with, till I'm back with Alan right now, with McCurdy as well, between. So it was just about a year and a half, and it wasn't obviously NAZ was all about coaching. Like, hey, I'm leaving here because you're not willing to coach me a certain ways. Like you're not willing to, because this was exactly to what you just said. Like and I don't think this was specific for the person. It was specific for what we were training for. I felt like I was training for a marathon, and I was like, "Hey, I want to do 5K, 10K." So this is not what am I doing here? But from there, I didn't leave those coaches because of their how they were coaching me. It was a matter of like making the right decision for my career and
Right.
for my family, obviously financial and all that stuff. But yeah, we all, I think, to an extent, I think we all train. For me, I've always felt um, like after I left NAZ, I was doing like a 3 workouts in a week, where I was working out um, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I felt like till now I still think that's the best way to train if you're training for a half marathon at the professional level.
Yeah.
But for other people that runs as a hobby, or so want to qualify for New York and Boston, they don't have that time to train 3 times a week. But for marathon, so it's funny, like I know exactly how I should train, but I can't do that. I still, I'm part of a team. I think if I was to choose how to train, I would train 3 times a week, with doing anywhere from 13 to 15 miles long run on Wednesday, for maybe the first 8 weeks after let's say I took a 2 weeks off after Rotterdam and 2 weeks easy, and then for the next 8 weeks is how I would train, and then from there I would go to 2 days training that we do right now with the team, and from there, if I'm getting ready for marathon, I would go on 3 days. So workout 2 days easy, workout 2 days. So that's how I would train myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking like a coach.
Well, I am a coach.
Yeah,
as
I know.
well. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, are you still coaching athletes?
Yeah, not as many as I want, but I am coaching. Obviously, I'm not that I'm not willing to put the time and the marketing, through social media and things like that, because my main focus right now is how do I make the Olympic team. And my wife and I are expecting a second child right now. So but yeah, if anybody could reach out to me and say, I think I want, so I only coach about 7 people right now. I like to get up to 15. I think that's the max I could handle right now with my training, my family, because I want to make sure I give 100% focus to my athletes as well. That I'm training, and be part of the journey. So I like to get up to 15, but that's something I'm not willing to invest the time in terms of marketing. But if I get athletes, that's I'm willing to work with.
Right on. So if there's anyone out there listening who needs a good coach,
I don't know about good coach, but I will try my best.
We'll cut out that part. Well, one thing that I always found, it's one of the things that I miss about running, not being able to run for health reasons now, is that like being an athlete helped my coaching. For me, I wasn't a professional athlete, so actually the coaching mattered more on a professional level. But I felt like being out there and doing the work myself and competing and stretching myself helped me coach better athletes better. Do you actually find that coaching other athletes helps you as an athlete yourself, that you learn things from working with other athletes that you actually apply to yourself?
100%. And I'm not just saying, sometimes word is not enough to really describe how we really feel. But I 100% believe that. I see, like I mentioned earlier, I've got about 7 athletes, and seeing them that they've got a whole different like life and profession that and they still go out there and make the time to train and to put in the work and to see progress. The one thing a lot of people spoke about running is beautiful thing about our sport is there's progress at every level. It's not you don't have to be professional trying to make money. It's like man, it's you against time. Even at the professional level, there's still we're still trying to go against the time as well. So seeing them put in the work in while doing a 40 hours job, when it's especially during the winter, man, those people are my motivation, and I, part of my family and other things. There are huge motivations to me getting out of the door and getting my work done. We talk a lot about stretching, taking the time, every an hour or 3 hours, whatever, if they're at work or even at home watching TV, to be, down on the carpet and roll out, stretch. We talk about nutrition, we talk about water, and every time, like we talked about these things, it reminds me to do the same as well. Because I think it's hard to just say things and not do it as well. So for that reason, I think yeah, they are they help me in so many ways as well.
They hold you accountable.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think biggest part is I do think we do so little in terms of like it's not very hard to coach somebody at that at that level. Someone is trying to break 3 hours, 3:30, 4 hours, 4:30. So in terms of the amount of knowledge we put in, it's not like you're trying to coach somebody that's trying 210. Like there's so little like errors you got to make. At that level. I'm not saying we still put the same, but the effort, the thinking of the training. You just got to make sure you watch the patterns. Hey, are they staying consistent? Are they staying healthy? Are they improving? So and seeing them, when they accomplish their goal, and then how good they they just feel so proud, so that their joy of running personal times or qualifying for those big major marathon races, watching them having that much joy makes you feel good as well.
Yeah, hearing you say that, it reminds me of when my wife and I moved here to Flagstaff to start Dream Run Camp, and we have this connection with NAZ Elite, and I asked Ben Rosario to let the team know what I was doing and say, hey, anyone who is interested in being involved, like you're welcome to. Like that's something I want.
Yeah.
And you were one of, not to cast shade on anyone, but you were one of two people who immediately, of course, we had pre-existing relationship, but you're like,
I was disappointed a little bit. I didn't get much of written on the book. I thought you and I knew each other very well, man.
Well,
no, but
but it seems like what I'm getting at is it seems like like you do want to. You don't want to. I mean, it's easy to be like completely selfish as a professional athlete, and it seems like you don't really want that. Like that you you want to maybe contribute to the sport beyond going to the Olympics and pursuing your own goals.
Well, yeah, man. I think obviously I wanted my actions to speak for it. I don't want to talk and how I feel about the sport, but myself and so many others out there, I'm sure they're very grateful for the running community and what running has done for them. So in some ways, it would be nice to go out there and be able to give that back to the running community. So, and I think runners are some of the coolest people. So I love hanging out with runners. I'm serious. I'm serious. I think, man, I meet some of the people that volunteers in these races that we go and how they treat us and how they're an hour of meeting us and just for me that's man, I'm like, nah, man, I'm so happy you're out here volunteering and doing this for us. So but in general, yeah, I want to I love being in the running community, and running has done so much for me, from making friends, to being comfortable, to fit in, at the middle school, high school. Because I remember my first like 3-4 months of school was not easy, and this was middle school. I'm sure probably most of us feel the same way about middle school, but I just sitting at the lunch by yourself, whatever, not really speaking to a lot. And it's not to hold against it. They're young kids. We're all young at that age. But even in high school, I feel like if it wasn't for running, I don't think I would have really found that comfort, that confidence in myself, and the community. So running has, and college, free school at the university level, and right now, just running for a living. That is my job. That's kind of cool as well. I do like a 2-hour work, go sleep, go out and for 45 minutes or something of work as well. So it's like I want to be able to give that give that back to the community as well, to the running community. So
yep. Okay, thought you were just getting ready. So yeah, so you mostly like to let your actions speak. I happen to be working on something now, something I'm writing that's about how like the idea of like having a vision of the person you want to become, like the best version of yourself, and how actually like having a clarity about that, like who I want to be, like what are the best parts of myself, like when I'm facing a challenge, like what comes out of me that I like and that I want to be that person more of the time, and how actually thinking that way can actually help you as an athlete, not just as a person, but you kind of grow as a person and grow as an athlete simultaneously, like sort of looking ahead, because you're still a young guy.
Oh, appreciate it, man. I don't hear that very often from my teammates, man.
Yeah,
I'm the oldest now on the team.
Oh,
man.
dear. Yeah. So, well, that's kind of wild.
I know, man. In fact, without naming one of the guys, he was asking me, I was like, "Oh, man, I think I've gained a few pounds, from taking 2 weeks and 2 weeks easy, whatever." He said, "Hey, Futsum, man, is this because does your digestion slow down because you're old?" I'm like, "Bro, come on, man. I am that old. I hope not." No, yeah, we've got 24, 23, maybe even some younger guys on the team. So, and I'm 30, so it makes me feel old. Yeah. My body doesn't, but it just those speaking like
it's a
that.
fact. You know,
Don't worry, I don't move like that though.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
No, not yet.
But you know, who's the Futsum that you want to become like more of in like, you know, what direction do you want to grow as a person?
Oh man. Well, ask me that again. I really want to understand this question exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe it's the wrong question. Like,
No.
like, do you feel like you know, that you've come a long way as a person, that you've grown a lot, and you sort of you're not going to want to answer this question, but like you're kind of like, you like the person you are, and you've sort of earned it, or do you still look at yourself as a work in progress on that level too?
Oh yeah. Come on, no, I'm not even close, man. Um, no, there's um, I think I would say, you know, one thing that is still in progress is to really in every aspect of my life to, you know, to have faith in my religion and in my, you know, in my faith in my religion, to be strong on that. I mean, I think not really letting any, you know, any, you know, that comes up in life, not to move you, you know, in a big way, you know,
Yeah.
different way. So I think that's something I lack big time, and I, you know, that is a huge, you know, work in progress. But um, um, I would say, you know, I mean, I think even, you know, having faith in everything that I do, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna work on, you know, in the long run. You know, having faith and, you know, financially you're gonna be great and all those
Right.
things. No, you know, yeah, I would say, yeah.
Right on. Well,
Man, this is, you're asking me. I didn't expect. I thought you were gonna just continue on running.
yeah,
I didn't prepare for that, man.
Yeah, well, I can't help myself. Like, I should have been a psychologist.
No, this is a great question though. Might need a few beers or coffee or tea for that type of talk, man.
We'll give you
Come on now.
give you another crack at that.
You ask me a question like that with just water, man.
I ambushed you. All right. Well, we'll wrap up in a minute here, but I do want to bring it back to running. So, I mean, and very concrete. Like if that was like a really deep question, I'm gonna give you like a shallow one. Balance it out.
Appreciate
like,
it.
What's next?
Oh, what's next? I mean, obviously, it's not, you know, it's not official yet, so I can't really say. But there will be a full marathon for me. I mean, I would personally would have liked to do more short races, but you know, my coach felt like for what we're trying to prepare, you know, for this fall marathon and the 2024 Olympic trials, I will do the Big C7 Mount, which is a US championship race, and the 20K. So this will be the two races that I'll do before the full marathon. But man, I'm just excited to really, you know, put in you know, the put in the, you know, good amount of training and prepare the body and the mind for you know, obviously those races ahead, but those are preparation for the 2024 Olympic. Keep saying 2024 Olympic trials.
Yes. Right
yes.
on. Yeah, I've got to find my way there so I can cheer you on.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Do you like your chances?
I would say no. I would say I think my two marathons and how I felt, more than anything. I think we touched on this earlier about the training, and that's the most important for me. Is like, you know, how well my body adapted and how I was able to do the training. I think gives me confidence that yeah, I should be in a good position to do all the trials.
Right on. Yeah. Well, you know, the pundits can have their opinions. I'm pretty sure that you're going to be on everyone's list of people who have a real chance. But like, I don't care about predictions. I'm just rooting for you.
I appreciate that.
You and the other NAZ runners, but especially you.
Yeah. Well, that's how it has to be now. You're, you know, you're a Flagstaff local. You're here in town, so you've got to forget the other teams, man. You know, you're an AZ team as well. You know, you've trained with us for 13 weeks, so I don't think anybody would hold that against you.
No.
So.
Yeah, I'm a total homer. Well, this is your last opportunity. Lauren, you've been awful quiet. Veronica, if there's anything you want to shoehorn in before we let this man get on with his life. Well, yeah.
Question. Was there anything mentally that you changed in your second marathon from your first marathon, or like mental approach to that one, having done one going into your second?
Well, yeah, I'm actually, I gotta give a shout out to Shannon Thompson, who she's a mental performance coach and sports psychology,
Yep.
so something along that side. Hopefully, she's not watching this video. She's like, with all this work, that's all you could say.
Hi, Shannon.
No, but she's been amazing in terms of really, giving me some, insights and inputs and how I go about you know the training and what I want to think about. But she helped me a lot for CIM and how I approach the race and how I could divide it in blocks instead of trying to focus on the whole marathon, and that worked really well for me. So I just carry that to Rotterdam. But I think in general, the whole training and then just being in, I mean, I think that's the marathon is hard itself, but I think I don't know if people speak about this often enough, but I think the training, the build up is something that you got to be very mindful and careful and be smart, because if that goes really well, your marathon should go well.
Yeah.
Unless you go out crazy, and then maybe you will learn life the hard way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very true. Just a lot of people think about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the marathon race day, and then they're not as mindful as they should be with, no, today matters and tomorrow matters. The marathon will come. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a real treat to have you here. And this is good timing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Futsum. We'll let you take that call or whatever.
No,
tune in next time for another episode of Live from Dream Run Camp. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime.
Right on.